Bishop, thanks for being with us again. And we've been talking about the papal trip. There's so much to talk about, Today I want to talk a little bit about some of the talks that the Pope gave when he was here in the United States. Was there one talk that stood out more than the others to you?
Well, the one, when he spoke to the bishops in Washington, I mean, I was there listening. He gave that in Italian, in fact, so I didn't need any earphones. Listened pretty carefully to him. It was really a very affirming talk. At one point he said, I didn't come here to give you a lecture or to give you instructions. I came here to support you, my brother bishops. So that was a nice way to begin. And he said a couple of things that would stick with me. At one point he started talking to the bishops about how they should preach. And one of the lines he gave was, when you preach, leave the people with a taste of eternity. Elevate them, make them think about the really important things. Eternity, that's what's really important. Not just here, not the material, which is part of his message. We have to move away from consumerism, from materialism. We've got to get back to the spiritual values that sustain us. Not that these other things are not important. He had a wonderful encyclical on the environment. That's to sustain life. But why are we sustaining life? Because there's more life to come. It's not just here. It's not just focused on the world as we know it.
Mm-hmm. In that talk, he also spoke about the relationship between the bishop and the priest in the diocese, too. What did you get from that?
Well, I think it was, again, collaboration, unity and collaboration, support for the priest, themes that needed to be always repeated.
I think one of the most dramatic talks for me was the one down in Philadelphia on the Saturday night when he took the script and he threw it away and he just spoke for a half hour, I mean, at that point, we were pretty exhausted because it was the end of the trip, but he was gesturing, full of energy. What do you think his message was to families?
Well, it was a very practical approach to family life. Obviously, he's worked with families. He understands the pressures they're under, the normal problems, and he was very, somewhat humorous in some ways, but also insightful about real family life, what it's like, and simple solutions to the normal problems that we have. You can get complex solutions, family therapy, all these things that are important and useful, but he was going down to the very basic way in which people need to interact with one another, maintain unity, so that was really important.
Yeah. One of the themes I think that struck me through some of the talks was that he talked about the simple gestures of kindness to one another, and he emphasized that in his talk to families about how members of a family interact with one another, right?
Yeah, it was, again, the family dynamics, it's called. The interaction in families is really complex in many ways. And he was trying to put some easy rules to follow. Like when he in this talk, he just mentioned some of it, but he says there's 3 rules to family. You have to say please, thank you, and I'm sorry. Things like that, which are so basic. But it's true. That's what's missing.
Yeah. And a lot of these things he's already said, but he put them all together in one talk, and he gave it to us at one shot.
Yeah.
At the UN, it was it was a more serious talk that he gave, and on one hand he praises the UN and says we need this organization, and on the other hand he says we need some reform here. We need to help the other countries be heard here in this place. Yeah. What do you think of that strategy about he gives with one and takes with the other?
Well, it's kind of the kiss-kick method, You give them a little bit of praise, but then you challenge them. So, I think it was very important because the UN has become a great bureaucracy. Now, bureaucracies they make big organizations work, but when they get lost in the bureaucracy and people don't have a say in what's happening, especially the smaller countries, kind of get left out, well, then it's a dysfunctional organization. So that's what I think he was trying to work on. Give everybody a voice in trying to make the decisions that are important.
He said some things that might, some people might think were controversial, like he pretty much gave his endorsement to the treaty that the United States just entered into with Iran. Not a very popular opinion here in the United States. You think that's a good place for the Pope to enter into?
Well, he took it from a high level, saying, look, better peace than war, better negotiations than antagonism. So that's basically what he was saying to us. Specifics of it, it's another question. You know, people here would say they're not sufficient ability to monitor what's happening, et cetera, et cetera. So on one level, you say, hey, you're good. You did something good. You're not fighting one another. You're trying to bring peace. The details of it, well, it's really not for the Pope to comment on.
Yeah, well, plenty to think about that he gave us on his trip.
Yeah.
So thanks for shedding some light on it with us today.